And we can change it anytime we want. It's only a choice. No effort, no work, no job, no savings of money. A choice right now between fear and love.
The Soviet Union has been busy. They've been busy in terms of their level of effort. They've been busy in terms of the actual weapons that they've been producing. They've been busy in terms of expanding production rates. They've been busy in terms of expanding their institutional capability to produce additional weapons.
Which side are you on, boys? Which side are you on?
I want you to think about this. We have an administration that has repeatedly violated the Constitution, that has taken this country into war based on lies, that's putting us in hock to China to pay for the wars, that suborn torture and rendition.
It's a really lousy world we're leaving for our children and grandchildren.
Got to be careful, America. We're losing our democracy. It's time for us to save it.
And so for all those Americans out there tonight who say, you know what, taking on Iran's a good thing. I just told you if we take on Iran, we're going to use nuclear weapons. And if we use nuclear weapons, the genie ain't going back in the bottle until an American city is taken out by an Islamic weapon in retaliation. So tell me, you want to go to war with Iran? Pick your city. Pick your city. Tell me which one you want gone. Seattle, LA, Boston, New York, Miami. Pick one, because at least one's going. And that's something we should all think about before we march down this path of insanity that George Bush has us headed on.
There was a meeting in the White House where Cheney presided over it, looking to cook up the next war, a false war based on false intelligence.
How many press are here? Anyway, there was a meeting among the items considered and rejected, which is why the New Yorker did not publish it on grounds that it wasn't accepted. One of the items was why not? There was a dozen ideas proffered how to trigger a war. The one that interested me the most was why don't we in our shipyard build 4 or 5 Iranian boats that look like Iranian PT boats, put Navy SEALs on them with a lot of arms, and the next time one of our boats goes through the Straits of Hormuz, start a shoot-up. Might cost some lives, and it was rejected because you can't have Americans killing Americans. But that's the level of stuff we were talking about, provocation.
If they sat in a room and said, when we go to campaign for this war, let's not tell them how much it costs, let's not mention it, that's a sin of omission. That's a lie.
Yeah, there's really no difference whether it's deliberate or intentional
there is.
Or not. Well, they're both problematic in their
One is homicide. The other's involuntary manslaughter.
One could be criminal, for instance. Yeah.
That's what I'm saying. That's my point.
Which side are you on, boys? Which side are you on? Which side are you
President Bush and top administration officials publicly made 935 false statements, that's a polite way to say lies, about the risk posed by Iraq in the 2 years following 9/11. 4,000 kids who will never see the light of day again and their families, all for a pack of lies. Some legacy this Bush company.
Which side are you on, boys? Which side are you on? Which side are you on, boys?
We know that they're still trying to learn how to enrich uranium.
Mr. Secretary, what exactly was the connection between Saddam Hussein and Al-Qaeda?
I tell you, I'm not going to answer the question.
Oh, yeah.
We do have solid evidence of the presence in Iraq of Al-Qaeda members, including some that have been in Baghdad.
And so I think we ought to put aside forever this notion that you have to impose democracy. Again, I think you have to impose tyranny.
We do know with absolute certainty that he is using his procurement system to acquire the equipment he needs in order to enrich uranium to build a nuclear weapon.
Our country and the entire international community cannot stand by as a terror-supporting state fulfills its most aggressive ambitions.
Don't listen to their lies. Poor folks ain't got a chance unless they organize.
Each of us must choose which course of action we should take: education, conventional political action, or even peaceful civil disobedience to bring about necessary changes. But let it not be said that we did nothing.
You know that there's treason going on. You can be held accountable for treason yourself.
It's kind of a shame to hear you talk about the Constitution so much because you've done nothing to defend it. You haven't impeached. We sent you there to impeach. We sent you there to basically end the war, and you've done none of that. So we don't want your two-party dictatorship anymore. Do you want the book or not?
An old Beach Boys song, Bomberan. Bom, 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 bom. Anyway,
I mean, think about it. Iran, Cuba, Venezuela, these countries are tiny compared to the Soviet Union. They don't pose a serious threat to us.
So let me be absolutely clear. Iran is a grave threat. It has an illicit nuclear program. It supports terrorism across the region.
And I would hope from time to time that you have the humility and the grace to be ashamed of yourself.
The eyes of fear want you to put bigger locks on your door, buy guns, close yourself off. The eyes of love instead see all of us as one. Here's what we can do to change the world right now to a better ride. Take all that money we spend on weapons and defense each year and instead spend it feeding, clothing, and educating the poor of the world, which it would many times over, not one human being excluded, and we can explore space together, both inner and outer, forever in peace. Thank you very much. You've been great. I hope you enjoyed it. London, you're fantastic. Thank you. Thank you very much.